So I know after the Charlotte loss the other night, I started off the episode by saying that I like to record the very next day and not the night of a game because I never want to get into it too high or low. I don't know that that night is that weight has been worth it. Coming off a terrible loss last night to the Kings, I gave myself time, and plus it was a very, very late night game. But right now, as I'm recording, it's the next day. It's nighttime. It's March 10th, Friday, March 10th. It's almost, let's see, it's about 3:30 p.m. Just getting home. Feel like I would have it off my mind by now. The anger would be gone and I'd be more rational. I'm still very angry about that loss, and I'm still kind of having a real tough problem shaking it off and shrugging it aside and saying, "Hey, let's get ready for the next one." It's really bothering me. So I'm going to try my best to be as rational as I can be. But excuse me if I am a little too angry still. And if I say some shit that I probably don't mean, just ignore it. But there may be some harsh truths in here as well. So, just getting that out of the way. So yeah. Excuse me. Episode 491 of the podcast. Talking Knicks Kings. Let's get into it. Welcome to BD4. An RJ Carbone podcast. BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4 is a 5-star show on Apple Podcasts, also available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. So thanks for stopping by, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Champion of the world, turning, looking, see ya! Anthony for three, bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied! Time!
Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win!
All right, so let's talk about this one, man. Let's talk Knicks Kings. We're going to get right into it. We all know what happened. The Knicks took a bad loss. Episode 491 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening, maybe watching, episode 491 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Actually, if you want to check out episode 489, which we released the same night that we did 490, 489 was MMA Saturday. We brought it back. It's been a few months, to say the least. We had a guest on, talked about the UFC 285 card. But that's not why we're here for this episode, is it? Let's talk about this loss last night. We're diving right in. So, the Knicks shoot 35% in the first half. It was horrendous basketball. But at the very top of the first quarter, you get a very trademark early three-point ball from Julius Randle, right? That's what he does. And that may have been the only moment in this game where I wasn't pissed off to the max. Even during that second half comeback, I was still disgusted by what I was seeing. I mean, there was some repulsive basketball. The product was not good. But Randle knocking down the three to start the game. But then the Kings start doing their thing. They're moving the ball. They're forcing terrible turnovers on the Knicks. They're getting whatever they want inside the paint. I mean, it was just easy pathway after easy pathway in the lanes. And the Kings are out there defending the Knicks exactly how you are going to see defenses scheme the Knicks in the playoffs. They're loading up from the weak side. They're blitzing. They're playing up at the level. They had, the Knicks had open shooters from the weak side, but they weren't hitting them enough. And when they did, I mean, all we saw was the results from three that we were getting throughout the entire night. Bricks. Sacramento was sealing off the low paint early. They were sealing off that drive, so Brunson couldn't get in there early on like he usually does. He had to settle for some three-point looks early. Anyways, there was a lot of 1v1 for the Knicks, while on the other end, Sabonis was just torching them early. He finished the game with a triple-double, 11 points on the Knicks bigs early from Sabonis. So the Knicks go down 7 points after one. No offense from them whatsoever. The defense showed a lot of holes. Second quarter comes. You got RJ out there with the second unit to start out the period. And, they're clicking for a little bit. They're able to pull it within 3 at the top of the second. Josh Hart gets it going. RJ eventually cools off because that's what he does most of the time anyway. He goes through these cold stretches where he does nothing productive. And for a while there, in the first half, mostly the second quarter, it was only Brunson and Hart giving the Knicks any type of production at all. Those were the only two guys in the first half. And the Knicks were working hard to get into the paint because nobody was knocking down their open looks. Those two guys, Brunson and Hart, were getting into the paint, though. Then it was all Kings. Malik Monk was torching the Knicks. He was torching Randall on switches. De'Aaron Fox had it going some. The Knicks go down by 16 points at halftime. Third quarter, right out the gate, you get the news that Jalen Brunson won't return. The ankle again. That's a problem. He can't stay healthy now. We'll talk a little more about that later. But here we go. The Kings, right out the gate, getting right into the paint. And the Knicks basically allowing them to. Reverse layups, floaters, drawing contact on the drive, hook shots from Sabonis in the low post. They started stepping outside the three-point line, some jumpers, Murray and Herter, knock a few down to keep the Knicks at a distance. But then the Knicks, they made this beautiful, spirited comeback that apparently people love so much that they want to pat them on the back and call this game a great, fun, moral victory because the Knicks made this comeback. I'm sorry, folks, but we are done doing moral victory shit here on the show. Done. D-O-N-E, done. I've done that enough the past couple of years. So if you're coming here to listen to me jerk off the Knicks last night because they made this great second half effort, I advise you to leave right now because I'm not going to be praising them for 45 minutes because they put together a cool second half. But, it's Grimes, it's Hart, who helped keep the Knicks alive at points in the third quarter with some great rebounding, attacking the rim. So the transition play by Hart was amazing. And somehow the Knicks pulled within 5 points. By the end of the third, it was 7 points. So they're in the game entering the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter comes, and again, the Knicks kept pushing the pace here. And you liked seeing that. They ran a few corner plays for Obi Toppin. They were able to cash in on one of them. They ran the break with Obi. Hartenstein, a couple dunks in there from them on the break. RJ Barrett helped bring the Knicks within 1 point, and then later he tied the game 96-96 with a three-pointer. And this sequence right here, that three-pointer, everything that happened up to it, it may have worked. They executed at the end. But it was one of the most annoying, disgusting, repugnant possessions of basketball you're going to see in the half court. And it was really every reason the Knicks lost this game. It was a perfect portrayal of it. And we're going to talk about that specific possession in a second. So RJ knocks down the three out of the inbound. Then it's De'Aaron Fox, who I just spit. He gets it going from three. Then he starts getting into the paint time and time again. And we'll also bring that up, how I did not like the matchup Thibodeau went with. Right after Barrett ties it at 96, Fox goes on a run to put Sacramento on this 7-0 run with 6 minutes left and change. They're up 103-96 because of Fox. And the Knicks were still in there. They were finding ways to keep it close, but they do what the Knicks have always done and will probably continue to do in the clutch until, when Brunson isn't on the floor, I should say. This is what they look like when Brunson's not on the floor, just stupid passes in the final minutes, poor turnovers. I mean, you had Grimes, Hart on the inbound, Randall twice because that's a tradition in the final minutes. Some bad breakdowns on the defensive end, dumb fouls, foolish shots, Grimes, and there you had it. That was the game. The Knicks once again lose, falling for the second time in a row. This time 122-117 against a pretty nice looking team in Sacramento last night. So I want to talk about it. I've got one thing that I really want to bring up first and foremost, and we'll talk about that right out the gate from break. But quick 15 seconds and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Hey guys, so if you are a listener of the podcast often and you want to know where to find me on social media, you can find me on Facebook at BD4. You can find me on Twitter at BD4Pod. And you can also find me on Instagram at Rob J. Carbone. All right, so welcome back. Oh, man. So I think the main reason the Knicks, I mean, you could point to so many different aspects, but the main reason the Knicks lost this game, they played low IQ basketball. And I think that's where I want to start. They played very terrible, stupid, low IQ basketball. The decision-making was killer last night. The Knicks, they grabbed a ridiculous, absurd 23 offensive rebounds last night. 23 offensive rebounds. But off those, they mustered up just 17 points in those second opportunities. Now, when you have a normal amount of offensive rebounds, yes, 17 is a good amount of second chance points. But when you've got 23 offensive rebounds, that's a pretty poor job of cashing in. You had 8 offensive rebounds from Hart, 6 from Robinson, 4 from Hartenstein, and that's just offensive. But I bring up the offensive rebounds. I bring that up because of how dumb, stupid, and ridiculous the Knicks acted once grabbing those, again, 23 fucking rebounds. They lose a game by 5 points. They get all these second chance opportunities. But what do they decide to do with them, guys? Shoot the three-pointer. The three-pointer, in which they were 26% last night, was still used 50 times on 101 attempts. How stupid and nonsensical could one group be? First of all, I'll keep saying this time and time again, this Knicks team is going nowhere in the future until they get some guys who can knock down a triple. But you're telling me these guys, these Knicks last night, they shot 57% inside the arc and 26% outside the arc, yet they jacked up the same amount of shots inside than they did outside. They completely stopped working to get to the hoop. A little bit of adversity. Let's not bother trying to find a pathway there. Chucking up 3 after 3 after 3. And a lot of them still with time on the shot clock too, right? You get the offensive rebound, they give you an extra 14. But no. Toppin, Randall, Barrett, Quickly, all of those guys just jacking up loser garbage shots time and time again. Even the heat check by Quentin Grimes was such a terrible shot because it changed the momentum of the entire rest of the game. There were less than 4 minutes to go. The Knicks were in the midst of this, they were making this nice run. Quentin Grimes had just canned 2 3-pointers in a row in the corner. Randall grabs the defensive rebound. He brings it up court. He hits up Grimes for a third time, and Grimes launches one. But he forces this one. Fox is right in his grill. Terrible heat check shot. Didn't let the offense come to him. And that right there led to a 7-0 run from Sacramento. And that was all she wrote. So it was the 3-point chucking. They were so great on the offensive glass. Hart was amazing just skying for these boards. But they just refused to drive. And if they did drive, they kick it out. They weren't running any offense. They weren't running any offense. And some of these turnovers were just pathetic turnovers. Low IQ. Again, decision-making. Josh Hart at the top of the fourth quarter off of a drive. He hands it right into Murray's hands. Obi Toppin, a little later, drives, turns around, tries to make a little, an entry pass to the outside to Quickly. But he throws it right into Herder's hands. Julius Randle with the dumb mid-air passing once again, because that always works. The Knicks are down 3 points with 5 minutes and change remaining. And this idiot jumps right into the air for no reason, right at the nail, and he lobs it to a fan behind Quickly. With the Knicks down 4 points, 3 minutes left, Quentin Grimes throws it right into traffic in the lane. And then you had the Josh Hart play. Once a night, the Knicks commit a turnover off an inbound pass. Whether it be a 5-second, a bad pass, or stupid shit. We're just always unprepared in every ATO situation. And man, was that one ugly. The ball slipped out of his hands. It slipped out. He's trying to get Randle to come closer. Hartenstein's approaching, but he tries to go to Randle, and the ball just slips out of his hands as soon as he raises his arms. I mean, this is shit you have to patch up in middle school. And I'm sorry. That's also coaching, because as much as it is guys failing to come to the ball and move off the basketball, coaching. That's coaching, because you got to have your guys prepared and you got to draw up a set. And speaking of coaching, Randle, again, a little later, because we never listen, we go back to him. We keep going to this doofus down the stretch of games. Why? Because he hit a lucky miracle shot against Miami? 24 seconds left, the Knicks are down 4, and this jackass dribbles right into Barnes, loses it, and that officially seals the deal for the Knicks. Listen, I enjoy Thibodeau, okay? And Randle has played good basketball this year, great basketball. He's an all-star. He's making a run for an all-NBA team. But I will say one thing. Jalen Brunson has made them, Randle in particular, look really good. As good as he's looked, Brunson has a lot to do with that. Because the more we play with Brunson, or without Brunson, the more we play without Brunson, I think that's 7 games now, 6 or 7 games, the more we play without him and try to force Randle to be the number one facilitator, the uglier it's going to get. He can't do it. He just cannot do that. I don't want him with the ball at the end of games. I don't care if you have to hand that role to Deuce McBride, to Emmanuel Quickly, who was 1 of 55 last night from the field, or any other guard. Just don't let the 6'9", 250-pound power forward have the ball there, up top, far from the basket. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't want Julius Randle to touch the little round sphere down the stretch of games. Thibodeau cannot keep doing this. We have to go to someone else. I don't care who it is. The ball's got to be in the hands of a guard. I'm tired of a big man handling it at the top there. It's not how it works. And if we're going to talk about Thibodeau and adjustments and some decision-making, I've got another question for you, this one on the other end. Why are we putting Josh Hart on De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter there? Josh Hart is a bigger wing player. De'Aaron Fox is a smaller point guard who's probably the quickest, fastest guard since John Wall was a thing. Where was Grimes? That was a terrible matchup for Hart. He kept getting blown by. Why is Grimes not seeing the floor until 5 minutes in the fourth quarter? Dumb turnover he had or not, sometimes Tibbs has to put away his tough guy coach pride. You make a mistake, you're gone, and he has to go with the smarter decision, the smarter matchup. Now, he eventually goes to Grimes, but by then it was a little too late. Giving Grimes 3 minutes at the end of the period, the game, that's putrid. He was the only one out there, not to mention, who could knock down a three-pointer last night. And he was clearly the better matchup on De'Aaron Fox. You just have to run him more. You can't. That really bothered me. And Fox is, he and Sabonis, they're good. They're a good duo. They were killing the Knicks all night in the pick-and-roll driving kick. His speed forces the defense to collapse when he drives. So he's got the open kick out. He's impressive. That Fox-Sabonis duo, it might be a lot better than Brunson-Randle. It might be a lot better. It's really good. I would take those two guys because they're special. And, it's funny because everyone was giving the Kings so much shit for moving Halliburton last year. And, he's worked out for Indiana for sure. But Sabonis has done his thing. And he's helped them get to where they are. I think they're second in the West. And it may be a nitpick here, but I also didn't like, I know Mitchell Robinson looked pretty bad. He struggles against crafty bigs with good footwork, and they use the head fakes and all that. But I still think I preferred Mitchell Robinson down the stretch over Isaiah Hartenstein there. I am tired of seeing Hartenstein foul. Terrible fouls all the time. But that's a nitpick. But going back to the whole Grimes thing, I also find it a bit annoying how, and with Quickly getting minutes, like, how did Deuce McBride not see minutes in the fourth quarter last night? When he was at least providing you some good offense with the ball movement, and Quickly saw 8 minutes in the fourth. I thought Deuce played good full court defense, picking up Fox. I thought he should have saw some minutes there down the stretch because Quickly was just abysmal. And the Knick offense was just putrid overall. Nobody was hitting their shots. The three-pointer last night was some of the worst basketball I've seen. The three-pointers, the free throws, something's got to be done about that. Because there's no way an NBA club can be that much of an embarrassment at the foul line. Every night they're 60-something%. And at the three-point line, for that matter. They're not a good three-point shooting team. They're egregious. 26% last night from three, 64.5% at the foul line. I understand, guys like Randall and Quickly are drained lately. They've played in every game. They're playing heavy minutes for each of them, especially lately with Quickly. But that's not an excuse. It's the life of an NBA player. They were both horrendous last night and have been of late. Horrendous. So I don't know how far the Knicks can truly go when you just got Randall trying to pound the ball, pound the air out of the ball, and he's chucking threes. And if the 3-point's not working, which a lot of nights it isn't, I don't know how far you can go with their pound the paint style in the half court. Especially without a true superstar. Like, they play a lot of, that's how they run their offense. They pound the paint. They crash the boards. They're not a spread 5 team. Especially with Brunson off the floor. He brings you some shooting. So you already have one less shooter out there now. Grimes is knocking it down, but you don't play him in the fourth. It was just odd. There was a lot of over dribbling last night. Even with Brunson in, there was some times where they were over dribbling in the first half, but it was much worse without him. You could see the difference. Quickly at lead guard lately, rough. Oof. Now I'll give him yesterday. I'll give him the Charlotte game, but he's got an opportunity to either put himself in a bad hole or step up this weekend. Brunson's going to be out a while, and now it's time for Quickly to show he's worth it. You want the extension. Now you really, really have to prove it. You had a cute game against Boston. You've been playing great, but you could always do more. Now you got to prove it. Because you're going to be the lead guard. These next 2 games, this back-to-back, you're going to be lead guard. But the Kings played good. The Kings played exactly what I expect. You got the Kings blitzing, and they're playing the way I expect defenses to scheme the Knicks in the playoffs. The Knicks, they weren't hitting the short roll enough in the first half. Instead, they just relied on basic screen actions from their bigs to clear up lanes for Brunson. Too much of it. And I thought it was, interesting how the Knicks had small ball lineups out there at times, but they weren't playing that way. They weren't moving the ball. They weren't spacing out the half court. They weren't using their speed. It was still ISO and crash the glass. So if you're going to run that offense, then don't run that lineup out there. Then put some bigs out there. The Knicks, their best offense last night came in the full court when they were running the break. But they were pitiful in the half court yesterday. you could see Brunson's absence late in the game really affect it. You could see the difference between he and Quickly all night. So I thought it was really ugly. So all of a sudden, the Knicks are right back to where they were before this little 9-game streak happened. Not right back, but close. Like they're now 3 games behind the Cleveland Cavs with 15 left to play, I think. They're only 1 above the Nets from being bounced back to the 6th seed, which is a spot that could get them booted in the first round. You know, you've got the Clippers and the Lakers coming up next in a back-to-back tomorrow and Sunday. And let me say one thing here. I'm hearing all this shit, how the Knicks are tired, they're tired. And it's like some of you, I can tell. Some of you people have never done blue-collar work a day in your lives. Because holy shit, is it obvious by what I've been hearing in the comments I've been seeing. Tired this, tired that. No shit. They're tired. You want to talk about tired? Welcome to the NBA. They will always be tired. That's how this works, people. There will never be a single point in the dog days of the NBA season that a contender in this league won't be tired. Man up, nut up. Stop asking for these guys to get rest days. Stop asking for load management. If it's Brunson, okay, sure, whatever, yeah. The Knicks need to learn how to play competent basketball without him anyway. Sure, give him a few days. But the shit I'm seeing, give Randy a day. Give Quickly a day. It's not. NBA players are some of the most well-conditioned athletes, if not the most, on the planet. I do not want to hear your cupcake brain start advocating for rest. Thibodeau's mean. It makes me laugh, sure. But at the same time, it also just concerns the shit out of me for this next generation of athletes. I mean, it's really, really bad with some of you guys. It really, really shows that none of you guys have been hit before in life by anyone. None of you have played competitive sport. Any of that. It's truly hard to fathom. Tired. They won 9 in a fucking row. They weren't tired then, were they? Tibbs this, rotation that, 9 men, 10 men. Every single time the Knicks lose, it's the go-to narrative. It was Cam Reddish. Now it's Derrick Rose should be playing. Now you should expand it to 10. Man, I'm thankful Twitter doesn't coach the team. They're going to be, it's how it works. You're going to have to play through it. Man up, nut up, and get real. And with the Brunson thing, I know I sound old, but with the Brunson thing, if a player says he can go, like Brunson did, the coach is going to let him play. So at what point do we stop treating Tibbs like he's this dictator and maybe start blaming guys like Brunson for bullshitting when they're not actually ready? And maybe he's not to blame there either. Because sometimes you warm up with the bad ankle, you screw around with it, you think you can go. But when it comes down to game time action, you're putting pressure on it, you realize, oh shit. You know? But the blame game, it's always someone, it's got to stop. The team collectively played bad last night. They missed a ton of 3-point looks and they kept chucking them up like they were hot. That's the issue. Decision making. Terrible shooting. Not capitalizing off offensive rebounds, terrible turnovers. It's a Knicks thing. I don't like giving out awards in terrible losses like this, but I think the worst among the starting unit was Quentin Grimes, right? He came up clutch, so I guess I'll give Quentin Grimes, Jesus, voice crack, Christ. I guess I'll give Quentin Grimes an award, if I can find it.
Bing bang.
He gets the game ball amongst the starters last night. Jesus Christ. I'm losing my voice because I'm already screaming, and I said I'd try to be more calm. 19 points. Shot 54%, 4 of 10 from 3. He knocked down his shots last night and was the least repulsive Knicks starter on the floor. That's all I have. Brunson obviously left the game. So Grimes was good down the stretch. And again, he should have been the one on De'Aaron Fox. And Josh Hart. Josh Hart off the bench last night. I mean, just some amazing basketball from him. You see the numbers on the screen if you're watching. The 15 rebounds, the defense, the hustle plays, the way he pushes the pace and gets the entire team running in transition is exactly how the Knicks turned a blowout into a nail-biter last night. I mean, you hear all the time about guys making their teammates look better. You know, Brunson with Julius. But Josh Hart, I feel like he can make them look worse sometimes because the speed he plays the game at in the full court is just mesmerizing. He makes everyone else look lazy. He really does. And that's a compliment to him. And it's not even a knock to the other guys. 9 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. He did a very nice job finishing coast to coast, but also making nice passes on the fast break too. So Josh Hart also gets the game ball. And the other guys I just didn't like. Randall I thought was abysmal once again. Settling for jump shots, front rimming everything, giving up the baseline defensively. He was often switched onto Fox, but there was that one play where he had him in the corner, and he's out there just standing upright with an open stance, literally telling Fox to drive baseline. He gives him the baseline, a wide open lane for him. He provides no resistance, so he gets blown by, just stands there like a losing player and watches it all happen. And it really, really bothered me. I think it was in the first half. And again, offensively, down the stretch in the clutch, just a pile of garbage when it comes to executing on the ball. Terrible turnovers, some bad shots. He really bothered me last night. RJ Barrett, sure, the 25-7, some good moments there in the fourth quarter. But I'm tired of watching him play defense and shoot bricks every night. That's all he does out there. It really is. He misses threes. He's inconsistent as a finisher, which is his best attribute. And he misses at least one of 2 free throws every time down he takes a trip to the line. It's fucking abysmal sometimes. And the defense. Again last night, he's slow getting over screens. Meanwhile, Mitchell Robinson doesn't hedge for some reason. And he's also just, contesting. He's not contesting with a hand up on his closeouts. Some of these guys just don't even put a hands up. I'm frustrated, man. I don't have my thoughts in like an organized form. I just jotted down some, angry rants. I really didn't have any notes, and I don't want to talk about this game any longer. But it's a problem. It's a problem for the Knicks. They got to figure their shit out because you can't answer back 9 wins in a row with a 3+ game losing streak. So, and it's not going to be easy. You got a tough back-to-back coming up. Get it the fuck together. Suddenly it's not so dandy, and I'm not so sure that I can continue riding with the why not us narrative that I was riding with when the Knicks were going. So prove it to me again. Let's head to break, and then we're wrapping this shit up. Stay with us. We also have a website now for BD4. If you go to BD4blog.com, you can find the blog, the podcast links, and also where to find me on social media. Just go to BD4blog.com. BD4 is located on many different platforms. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, and if you do there, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review. You can listen to it on Spotify, but you can also watch the podcast on both Spotify and YouTube. BD4 is available on many other platforms as well. All you got to do is search it up. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and much more. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap this up with our question of the day. All right, let's get to our trivia. I am tired of the Knicks, and I just need a break. Let's get to it. Episode 491, our trivia, true or false? In Jeremy Lin's final game as a Knick, he scored over 20 points against the Kings. And that's it. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all of it. And I'll see you in 492. We may have a guest or two again coming up on the show this weekend. I don't know. If I do it, it'll be released probably by the end of the weekend, maybe Monday morning, but we'll see. The Knicks need a win. That's it. They just need to win more. It really is. This loss would have been more acceptable if they didn't come out like garbage and play like garbage for 4 quarters against the Charlotte Hornets. But they did. So, later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.